Hello. So this will be a brief documentary on voting. I know, voting, bleh. Who has the time, right? There's so many excuses. Who cares? I'm just one vote. It won't change anything if I skip it. Voting is boring and takes time out of my day. I'm a very busy person. Or I'm going to be out of town on that Tuesday. Or no one else does it, why should I? Or the other part of that, everybody's going to think I'm weird. Everybody will think I'm a dork because I vote. My one little vote doesn't matter. We've heard all the excuses, and there are answers to all of them. If you continue listening, I promise to provide as many answers as possible, as well as to try to convince you to take part in giving the government back to the people the way it was originally intended back in the 18th century. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? How to register to vote. It's so easy. Your first option is to go to the DMV. I know, we all hate the DMV. I don't blame you. But it's the most direct way to do it. A simple form to fill out. Check a few boxes, give your address and social security number, pick a political party, and sign your name. Did that really sound so tough? I didn't think so. But I'm with you. I hate going to the DMV too. It takes forever, there's never anywhere to park, and it seems like lately they're always closed, which is why we have the option to register to vote online. Isn't the internet wonderful? Personally, I can't remember how I ever functioned without it. Movie times, song lyrics, online banking, email, Facebook. Well, I've gotten off track, but you understand the point I'm making. You can do anything on the internet. So of course you can register to vote by simply going to http://www.sos.ca.gov/elections. You can find the link to a form that you can download, fill out, and place in your mailbox to register your voting. Piece of cake, nothing to it. Another option, go to rockthevote.com. We've all heard that term, rock the vote. MTV, among other major public broadcasting stations, advertises it heavily throughout campaign seasons. The website is simple. Click on register to vote and follow the steps they tell you. But I don't have access to the internet. No problem. If you don't have internet access, go to the local library and use theirs. Or here's the easiest option. Go hang out at a local college. Doesn't matter which one, months before election day, there are always several people with voter registration forms walking around doing their best to reel in as many of you as possible. And no, they aren't trying to sell you anything. Really, they just want you to vote, because your vote matters. It really does. Back to those reasons why you don't vote. Remember, it's boring, my vote doesn't matter, no one else does, blah, blah, blah. It does too matter. And even if you think it doesn't, let's think back to nearly a century ago, when women were not allowed to vote. That's right, it was only in 1920, only 89 years ago, that women were not allowed to vote, because they were, quote-unquote, inferior to men. Think about it. Some of you must have grandmothers that old. When your grandmother and great-grandmother were born, they couldn't vote. They did not have the privileges you ladies have now, the privileges we now take so much for granted. And before that, voting rights for former black slaves. As if the Civil War wasn't enough, even though they were free and were supposed to be citizens of the United States with voting privileges just like the white people, blacks were forced to take literacy tests, to own land, to possess a certain amount of money in order to vote. Another several decades before that, immediately after the Revolutionary War, the whitest of white men had to pass those literacy tests and provide proof of finances in order to vote. All this, the women, the former slaves, even those white men who supposedly have always been in control, and yet so many people still feel as though their right to vote is unnecessary. They don't care. You should care. Ladies, how would your grandmothers feel if they knew that what they fought for so many years, was being entirely blown off? Or all the men who had to pay to vote. It's free now. The men who had to take literacy tests. How would they feel knowing that we all don't think twice about skipping election day because there is something better on TV, or we want to go to Disneyland, or we are just too busy or too tired? If it were me, I'd be devastated that something I'd worked so hard for, something that was such a great privilege for me, was entirely lost on the younger generations. Did you know that in the 2008 presidential elections, only 57% of Americans voted? 57%, barely more than half. How do we know that the men and women who won that election were truly the choice of the people if almost half chose not to vote? It's astonishing. In 2004, only 55% of Americans voted. In 2000, only 51%. I ask you again, how is this fair to those who fought so strongly to preserve our rights? The answer is, it's not. One of the most common excuses for not voting is being unable to get off work or simply being out of town. The answer to this issue is simple: absentee ballots, mail-in ballots. All you have to do is fill it out and put it in the mail. Have we gotten so lazy that walking to the mailbox is too much? I hope not. Did I mention earlier that you could even be paid for Election Day? It's true. If you were to decide to volunteer your time and work at a polling site, you would be paid for your time. Imagine that. Money to sit there and watch people vote as well as vote for yourself. So let's vote. In the last few minutes, you learned how to register, why you should vote, why there is an answer to any excuse regarding voting, and what you can do to help encourage others to vote.